The next speaker is Dr. Luiz Oosterbeek, the president of the International Council for Philosophy and Human Science, giving us his perspective on bridges and the Luiz.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and congratulations for holding this session. And particularly thanks to Gabriela Ramos and Stephen Hartman for all the efforts. I will be very brief, basically to justify why CIPSH has committed itself from the very beginning to building this project, which started from discussions back in 2019 in Mação, and then evolved to establish this network. It started with a diagnosis. We know that despite a convergent effort of governments and institutions all over the world, the absolute majority, and despite all the agreements that have been established, the situation of the planet and of the world in terms of inequality, in terms of environment, etc., is worse now than it was 3 decades ago. So where is the problem? The problem is basically in the organization of human agency and establishing a different framework for what we need. This was our starting point, and also a recognition of a gap, and the gap related to the United Nations system and particularly to UNESCO. In relation to sustainability and the quality of life, we could call it, there are several programs that award labels of quality to activities and processes and realities that work well or in the good direction in the planet. You have the Man and Biosphere Program, the Geoparks, World Heritage, etc. These programs are very important, very good. They point a good direction, but they can only be granted to realities where the process is already in reality more positive. So whenever things are running more or less well, there were already programs. But what about the absolute majority of the population in the world, sometimes living in appalling environmental contexts, in very difficult social situations? There was no program for that. There was also no structure, no tool to encompass in the process of sustainability the efforts of citizenship beyond the stakeholders. Of course, every time there were initiatives, there were efforts to engage the populations. For example, having NGOs and open spaces in parallel to the summits, etc. But Bridges is the first project that allows for any human community anywhere in the world, even living in the worst situations possible, providing there is an agreement on a roadmap to improve the situation in a convergent approach that meets the global needs of the planet. This is what Bridges is about. So it's something on top and of course in articulation with all the other UNESCO programs, but it gives power to the communities. It's a bottom-up process that can be institutionalized at the same time. Of course, it's a difficult thing. Of course, it's something that we have to build in progress, but this is, from the perspective of CIPSH, the real aim and also the real power of this project and of this new program of UNESCO. It is based on the understanding that we need 3 things in relation to this. First, to escape the agony of short-term needs, bridging those short-term needs with mid and long-term dilemma, and avoiding creating new problems at the pace of solving the immediate problems. Secondly, to understand sustainability as a diverse issue that requires tailor-made approaches and not simply common goals for everyone. And finally, to give, as I said before, empower the populations not only in speech, but in reality, knowing that the future is something we don't know how it will be. We hope it will be better. We hope it can be better. But the only way to be better is not to pre-design it. And this is why humanities are important, because humanities help building utopia with the population and expecting that this utopia become reality in the future. So thank you very much again. And I hope that the COP27 will give space for this contribution to grow. Because let be no mistake, there will be no energetic transition, no successful digital transition, no real social, economic, or environmental improvements if there will be no change in the mindset of people. And the change in the mindset of people requires trust. I think that this is what Regis brings to us. Thank you.
Thank you indeed, Luiz, for this very informative and brief intervention, promoting or highlighting how bridges can give power to local communities and to improve the situation, and efforts for citizenship and sustainability. And this idea, the thinking of leaving no one behind, this is highly appreciated, I believe.